the spinning basketball Earth in the vacuum of space?
Well, it doesn't. Poor first point. Let's see if any of the others are any better.
Number 2, gravity.
Oh, here we go.
Did you know that even in 2020, gravity
Did you know?
is still a theory?
What?
It has never been proven.
That is simply not true. We have detected gravitational waves. These were predicted by Einstein.
Some say it's a force, others say it isn't. Simply shouting, "Gravity, motherfucker, gravity," and then dropping the mic is not going to cut it anymore.
Bit rude, but I would ask, what is causing that mic to fall then?
Even the meaning has been hijacked by the scientists. Initially, Sir Isaac Newton, in his book, called it gravitas, which in Latin means to have weight. Therefore, it is logical to conclude that when he saw the apple fall to the ground, he deduced that the weight of the apple was heavier than the air surrounding it.
You don't say. We are talking here about a man that helped develop calculus, discovered the laws of optics, discovered the laws of motion, all before his 26th birthday. I think he would have realised that the apple weighs more than the air surrounding it. I think he was more concerned with the mechanisms as to how that apple falls.
Therefore, it fell downwards to the ground. Makes logical sense, right? And also, gravity is apparently it began with the Big Bang. So if there's no gravity, then there's no Big Bang.
Very logical, multi-tom-tom.
What?
Number 3, parallax. The true definition of the meaning of parallax from dictionary.com, it says, the apparent displacement of an observed object due to a change in the position of the observer. Again, these bastards have hijacked the meaning of the term and made it completely different. They say stars are moving with us in the heliocentric model. It's like parallax is like looking at an object, then covering one eye with your hand and doing the same with the other, and you'll see a slight difference.
Yes, and with stellar parallax, the covering of your eye is the equivalent of being on one side of the sun at one time of the year and then on the other side of the sun 6 months later. It proves our orbit.
In the object that you're looking at. You will have a different perspective on the object, that's all. It's just simple as that.
Yes, what's your point? The different perspective comes from our different points in our orbit.
And in this example from space.com, it gives you a diagram of how they calculate parallax, stellar parallax. They'll observe a star, for example, in June and take a reading, and then wait 6 months for the Earth to orbit around the Sun to a different position in the solar system, and then take another reading in December. Then calculate the angles, and they say they can prove that the star is light years away.
Yes, it is simple trigonometry. The star in question is measured compared to the background of stars behind it that are further away.
That is bullshit, because the Earth
Because
does
I
not
don't
orbit around the
understand
sun.
that
The Earth is stationary.
that are bullshit.
So what's causing
what?
that apparent shift then with that star relative to the background stars behind it?
And they're mistaking the twinkling of the star for parallax.
Oh dear. A star's twinkle is caused by the turbulence of air of Earth's atmosphere. When you are out in space, there's no air, so there's no twinkle. You've just debunked yourself.
Stellar parallax is complete bollocks. It's all made up. Everywhere on the plane, we see the same stars night in, night out. Each night, every night we see the same stars.
Except we don't. Orion, for example, is only visible between November and April here in the UK.
That is impossible if we are moving in the solar system is moving, the galaxy is moving, the universe is expanding. We will see different stars.
No, the distances involved are clearly way larger than you can comprehend.
Stellar parallax is bollocks.
Very scientific.
Number 4, the spin of the Earth. Did you know that nobody has ever proven the spin of the Earth?
I think you will find that we have. Several times.
Where in the world did you come from?
Disneyland.
Disneyland?
I was never in Disneyland. Who gave you that information?
You. Just now.
Our location has been scrambled 400 times in the last second. So who knows?
Right. Well, regarding the Earth spin, thank you, Mr... What do I call you anyway?
My name is of no concern to you. You may also forget my face as soon as this conversation is over.
Yeah, but you always call me back.
Then forget my face after every conversation.
Yeah, but how will I know it's then you the next time? And how will I see the information as being from a trustful source if...
Point taken. I'll bring this up to our marketing department.
Right, so, round.
Yes, we have proven Earth's spin in multiple ways, like satellite imagery.
Indeed, you guys have made some serious progress when it comes to documenting Earth's spin. This one from Discover is particularly nice.
Thank you, Simon Dan. I made the little logo in the corner. Who gave you this number?
Hey, Mr. Agent.
Ah, Dr. Stroganoff.
It's Stronagov.
My phone says differently.
Listen, I have this recurring dream of you telling me that everything is going to self-destruct. Are you planting that into my brain?
That information is classified. Yes.
Guys, I'm kind of in the middle of a video here.
Oh, hello, Simon Dan.
Hello, Doctor. What happened to your hair?
My wife. What are you debunking this time?
Someone's saying that the Earth doesn't spin.
Oh, welcome to the Muppet Show.
I was just informing him how we have proven that the Earth is spinning.
How you have proven.
Yes, Foucault's pendulum is another proof.
Ah, an excellent example. For those of you at home, Foucault's pendulum is a huge pendulum with a weight attached at the bottom. If you can get it spinning for long enough, the plane of the pendulum will rotate through 360 degrees as the Earth rotates beneath it. With a bit of clever maths, you can predict your exact latitude based on the deviation that the pendulum makes.
Yes, proof.
But wasn't that Foucault? You didn't prove anything.
Well, yes, but... Okay, gyroscope drift.
Ah, a very good...
I heard a flat earther prove that.
If you drop something from a tall tower, there's an eastward
That
deviation.
was Johann Friedrich Benzenberg.
Sunrise and sunset.
That's proof in itself.
Circumpolar stars.
Oh, you put the stars up there, did you?
Doctor Who.
Really?
Thanks guys. Now, back to the...
You know, I have a theory that Simon Dan is actually the 14th Doctor.
Okay, I really need to update my antivirus.
Simon Dan being the 14th Doctor
Right.
is a very interesting theory.
Exactly.
And I should know. I'm a doctor.
Stop hacking my show, everybody out.
You heard the man. Everybody out.
You too.
Oh,
Right, okay.
Take care, Simon Dan. Mr. Agent. And everybody else. Wash your hands.
according to unverifiable statistics, one flat earth video is posted online every 12 hours.
So what?
Exactly.
Why is
Number
my loop
5,
thingy not working?
the curvature of the Earth. Did you know that the curvature has never ever been proven?
Well, that last one was easy, wasn't it? Multi Tom Tom's raging right now, shouting, CGI, CGI! Right, that brings this episode of Flat Earth Friday to a satisfying close. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please do like and subscribe. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great weekend, and I'll see you all Tuesday, where the star guest is this guy.
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Thanks, Bob. See you all then.
Good morning there, my little junkies. How are you doing on this wonderful... what day is it today? Sunday. It's already Sunday today. Wow. It is your boy Deadshot Jared, and today we have Rom 4 by Rammstein. Now, I did look up the song, and all I can find on romwiki.net is that it says here the song is titled Rom 4, presumably because it is the band's fourth self-referential song, meaning that they reference the word Rammstein or some part of their name in the song. The first being Rammstein, the second being Wollt ihr das Bett in Flammen sehen, which I'm guessing it's like, would you like to see the beds in flames? I think that's what it means. And the third being Ramlied. This naming scheme seems to ignore 5/4, and it says the song contains parts of lyrics from older songs and a new chorus. Yeah, just looking around here, yeah, this is, yeah, I guess there's nothing really special about this song. It's just the fourth song, literally, that they named after themselves. So this is live in Hellfest. This is directly off of Rammstein Official, so if this video gets blocked, I apologize. But Rammstein's been really nice to me recently, and they actually let my song to get through. It's probably because I was a smaller channel. Usually smaller channels get hit the most when it comes down to copyright stuff. It's just how we are. And as you guys can tell, I'm wearing a new pair of glasses. Well, they're not new. You just guys haven't seen them on this channel before, but these are from a company called Glassy. Very cheap glasses, not the best quality, but you know, they work. So without further ado, links in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/DeadshotJared. Read the first link in the description below. And if you guys want to join my Discord page, follow me on my social medias down below. I'd really appreciate it. Might do some polls on Twitter, who knows. But once you get to 1,000 subscribers is when we're going to start having some actual fun on this channel. But without further ado, let's get into this. Fünf, vier, drei, zwei, Alright, let's see what we got here. My first time hearing this. Usually when I make these videos, I do them over and over again, but not the actual song themselves, so, yeah. Haven't heard of this one yet. I'm not exactly where Hellfest is either. I should probably look that up. Guessing it's in Europe or something. France. Yes. Okay. So it is Europe. Got that synthesizer board. It starts out nice. Turn this up a bit. It's really steady. I love it. Oh, you guys better be safe out there. I can see some behind them actually. There's like some things sticking them up. They're probably being. Yeah, there's a thing there. Okay, yeah. So they're being like held in place. All right, yeah. Still want them standing on there, you know? Dangerous. And you guys mentioned in the last video that Tail is actually pyrotechnics, so pretty cool, I guess. Who's that guy? Gosh, the third guitarist. What the? He's clacking those shoes. See, he's looking pretty good. Yeah, they took lyrics from different songs and just mashed them together. Pretty interesting. It's really catchy, I like it. I just realized there's now only 2 guitarists on the stage, not 3. So I think one of them dressed up in a different fashion. So we got him. Well, isn't there a third guy in the background? Not the drummer, but there's a... Yeah, I swear there's someone in the background. Yeah, there's a third guitarist up there. Unless I'm just being really stupid.
No, there is a third one. Always has been.
Dale's having a lot of fun.
Head.
It's got some really 90s vibes to this song. Oh, it's a spring-loaded mic. That's pretty cool. That is a really catchy Rammstein song. I have never heard of a band that actually uses previous lyrics from other songs to create one song. I've never seen that before. That was interesting. Like, there are songs that I've heard where they've mentioned some lyrics from other songs, but not as much as this. Holy crap. And there was a third guitarist. Who was that? Shit, I gotta look them up. I'll be right back. Because I swear there was a third guitarist on stage, wasn't there? They had the two up front, and then there was a guy in the back. I don't know who that guy in the back was. He was like wearing the mask and shit. Yeah, so there's two Rammstein guitarists. There's what was it? Paul Landers, and then the other guy. What's his name? Krupsa. But then there's a third guy, and I'm not too sure who that is. Maybe it's Oliver, who knows? Oliver Reidel? Oh yeah, okay, so it might be Oliver. Yeah, bassist, yeah, okay, yeah. So it wasn't a guitarist, it was a bassist. Okay. I got that straightened out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys do drop a like, of course, subscribe, and please hit that bell icon on so you guys will be notified. If you guys join my Discord page, you guys will also be notified of any new live streams or anything like that comes your way. Just note that it sometimes is a little bit laggy. It uses a Discord bot that takes when I upload a video, the bot connects to my YouTube account, and there might be a little bit of a lag in it, but it eventually sends a notification. It could be within a minute. It could be just like that. It's sometimes finicky. So if you guys want to join my server, I would really appreciate it. I need some people in the server. If you guys want to become a Patreon, first link in the description below for $1 a month. $1, guys. $1 a month. It's not much. And I use the funds to support the channel, but all patrons get full access to the Discord. They get full access to song requests and a whole bunch of stuff that's gonna happen in the future. Once the future comes, and we got enough people, I might start making some modifications to the Patreon page to make it a lot more nicer for a lot more people. But if you guys have any other songs, videos, or anything you guys want to react to, leave in the comments below. Try and keep with videos that have English subtitles on it, because if I can't understand a song, or if I don't have a meaning behind a song, I can't understand it. So you guys send me like European, I've gotten some songs that are like you would never think they existed. Someone gave me a Polish band today, and the name of it was completely Polish. I did look up the song, and it was like some anti-communist song or some weird stuff. But if you guys find any songs, please just send me a song, find the meanings to it. But I prefer to find videos that have some sort of English subtitles on them. Although Rammstein doesn't, at least I understand Rammstein. But that was enough blabbering on for today. As always, I'll see beautiful people in the next video. Bye-bye.
Jet. shit.
Your meddling has reached its end. Do you hear the clatter of bone and steel coming up the tunnel behind you? That is the sound of your impending demise. Such an amusing gesture from the rabble. When I have finished with you, my master's blade will feast upon your souls.
Oh.
Die. Reinpang, destroy this fool!
Too far away.
How overwhelming! Reinpang, destroy this fool!
Fuck.
Light has spoken shall pay for this treachery.
Reinpang, perhaps destroy this fool in the mountains! Power overwhelming! Reinpang, destroy this fool! Such a shameful display. You are better off.
Many deals for a friend of the Grummles. He'll like you.
Hey y'all, Scott here. Apparently my input on wars throughout history is extremely important, so it finally makes sense why after the French Revolution in most history textbooks it just says, but what would Scott think? It's the middle of class in 2011 and all these kids are discussing politics. Which is better, the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360? One of them asks, Scott, which one do you prefer? And you ruin your credibility. Nintendo. Platform wars will forever be a thing. When you don't have anything better to do in your life, why not defend plastic? I mean, when you blow thousands of dollars on a new computer or phone, you don't want to actively admit, yeah, yours is better, I'm the idiot. You want to make sure your purchase is justified and have everybody agree with you that the way you spent $400 is better than how I spent $400. This kind of debate is especially prevalent between platforms that are largely similar but have various minor pros and cons between each of them. And nowhere was that more of a thing than with the console wars of the 7th generation of video game consoles. 5 entered the ring. One was a runaway success, we don't count that. The other 2 were portable systems, they had their own fish to fry, so we were left with 2 systems, the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Video game fans have always been pit against each other based on the consoles they used each and every generation, but never before were 2 consoles so perfectly balanced between their strengths and weaknesses. One console did well in one area while the other faltered, but the other did well in an area the other couldn't even spell right. It's still up for debate nowadays which one is better. It's a very similar situation to what happened with the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo back in the 90s. The difference was, the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 were more so civil tyrants, the Genesis and Super Nintendo were only interested in what each other's blood tasted like. Console wars have definitely settled down between the companies over the years. What once was a war turned into a competitive picnic. But the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 were truly out to get each other. They didn't like each other one bit, which meant I know what I'm gonna do tonight. I'm gonna recall the history of these consoles duking it out, and afterwards we'll pit the 2 against each other in a variety of categories to see which one I end up personally preferring. I plan the best parts. The video game landscape and who was on top was and still is consistently changing. Atari was king until they were stupid. Nintendo overtook gaming for a while until Sega came along with the Genesis and actually outsold Nintendo's offerings for a bit there until they tried to succeed so hard they failed. Nintendo took over again, but then Sony came into the picture with the PlayStation, and that blew up. If anything, this shows that when a new generation of systems comes along, it's up in the air who'll take the crown. It's never always Nintendo or always Sony, but it's never Sega. So, if you have the resources to create a video game console, go for it. Go for it. You have nothing to lose except everything. You have the potential to be the best-selling game console of all time. I'm telling my kids that. So when Sony was working on their next console, the PlayStation 2, Microsoft entered the ring by announcing the Xbox. That should give Sony a run for their money. I'm sure Sony keeps this photo on their nightstand. What happened here? I mean, it makes sense for Sony to win, but by this much? Well, lots of things added to this happening. While I made the point that just because a company did well one generation doesn't mean that success will transfer over to the next, that most certainly happened here. The PlayStation was a huge hit, over 100 million consoles sold, with the next one on the horizon being definitively called the PlayStation 2. What did you think would happen? It's like everybody loves bread. Bread 2 comes out, it's gonna sell well. The PS2 launched in the year 2000. Microsoft released the Xbox 1 year later, so not only did Sony get a year's head start on Microsoft, which meant by the time the Xbox released, the PS2 already had a year's worth of games in its library, but they also had brand recognition on their side. People knew what a PlayStation was. The Xbox scared people. Plus, DVDs were getting big at the time. The PlayStation 2 was a DVD player straight out the box. It had amazing exclusive games, plus pretty much all the third-party games you could possibly ask for. Even though the Xbox had a lot of these things going for it, they were only in spirit. It could play DVDs, as long as you bought the DVD remote accessory. Without this, you couldn't play DVDs. That was stupid. It had exclusive games, it had third-party stuff, but most exclusives, well, not bad. It didn't really shake the world, and a lot of the biggest third-party games, while running and looking far better on the Xbox, came out a while after the PS2 versions did. This little guy put up a fair fight, but it obviously wasn't going to beat out the PlayStation 2. By the time it came out, Sony basically already won that generation. But of course, Microsoft wasn't discouraged by getting second place. People love this thing. Look at it. It's so buff. For a first timer, the Xbox did quite well. It beat out Nintendo's GameCube in terms of sales, and it did have at least one exclusive series that mattered: Halo. Most third-party games you'd want to play that generation did eventually come to the system. For a newcomer console, the Xbox did about as well as it could have possibly done. And Microsoft had the deep pockets to support it. I mean, this system rarely turned a profit, ever. They may have sold a decent amount of them, but they were losing money on this thing. For most companies, if their first console didn't turn a profit, they normally say, let's get out of here! But Microsoft can afford to do anything they want. They have an endless supply of money. They can launch a game console, go to space, go bankrupt, whatever they want. They have so much money, and the Xbox supplanted itself as a worthwhile brand, so Microsoft did the unthinkable. They never learned to count. The Xbox 360 was revealed on May 12th, 2005 on MTV because TBS was busy that day. Microsoft was serious with making the system a massive deal and something that Sony should have been legitimately scared of. Instead, they were pretty confident with their next console, the PlayStation 3's success. I mean, after your last two systems were the most popular systems in history, It's easy to get a big head and think anybody will buy something with the word Sony on it. Shortly after the Xbox 360's reveal, Sony revealed info on the PS3, how it was leaps and bounds more technologically advanced than Microsoft's offerings. I mean, this thing had it all. 2 USB ports, 3 more USB ports, another USB port. The entire system was built around something called the cell processor, which was a highly advanced technology that nobody knew how to use. It was pretty difficult for programmers to actually utilize the cell processor and make games for it. But Sony was so arrogant after the past 2 generations, there was this mentality that developers would learn to program for it because we made the PlayStation 2, everybody loves us. Like, if the cell processor takes a lot of time to figure out, developers will spend all their time making games for the PS3 because it's so difficult, they won't have time to make games for the Xbox 360. Sony knew they had brand recognition on their side, so decided to make the ultimate video game box. Backwards compatible with all generations of PlayStation, the most powerful architecture imaginable, a compact flashcard reader because f*** you need that. They weren't constructing the world's most video game console, they were making a government supercomputer. It could do anything and everything you'd want a thing to do. It could play the up-and-coming high-def Blu-ray discs. Sony was banking on that being a huge selling point, much like how the PS2 playing DVDs was. It had the best-looking games and the most USB ports. Sony knew people would flock to the PlayStation again instead of the Xbox, and they decided to make the greatest device they could because they knew people would buy it regardless of the cost, The Xbox 360 launched later in 2005, with the PlayStation 3 being slated for spring 2006 until being delayed to holiday 2006. Much like how the PS2 released a year ahead of the competition, I feel that the Xbox 360 doing the same did numbers to its success. Microsoft had a year head start on Sony, which meant by the time the PS3 would launch, they'd have a beefy library of games at their disposal, a potentially better price point of the console, a larger install base of players, which was a big deal in the era of online gaming. Plus, they were the first console to show off what at the time was next-gen graphics, so by the time the PS3 would come out, it wouldn't have been as revolutionary looking. But Sony couldn't care less about Microsoft. They were confident that people would drop everything in their life at the moment for the right to buy a PlayStation 3. But then during their E3 2006 press conference, Sony said, you know what, we haven't f***ed up in a while, let's do it. This conference will always live in infamy, the moment that many stopped looking at the PS3 with excitement and instead with embarrassment. The entire presentation was awkward with how lines were delivered and the game's honestly looking pretty boring.
There it is.
None of this stuff didn't look
No,
that
they
much
didn't
better
show
than what
it.
Microsoft was putting out, which made it sting even more when it ended with a mortgage.
The 20GB PlayStation 3 will retail for $499 US dollars and 549 Canadian dollars. And the 60GB PlayStation 3 for $599 US dollars, $659 Canadian.
Back then, I didn't even know that much money existed. To be fair, Sony was taking a loss on PlayStation 3s at that price point. These things were costing far more to produce than what they were selling them for. However, that didn't matter. It was still clear. Nobody wanted to spend $600 for the right to play this. This was when a lot of people sprung on the Xbox 360. The price point was fairly solid, and you got pretty much all the games that were coming to PS3, so you can't blame anybody for going this route. Holiday rolled around and the PS3 launched right before the Nintendo Wii, and people were going nuts. People were camping out waiting to scoop up these consoles and immediately sell them on eBay for a profit. I do this with Robitussin during flu season, I get it, but people were taking this incredibly seriously. The PS3 was expected to be a smash hit. What a failure, I'm open to that too. For the first few years of its life, the PS3 was the laughingstock of the gaming industry. It was overpriced and didn't have a ton of compelling exclusive games. Multi-platform titles often ran worse on the system because, 1, the Xbox 360 was easier to develop for, so developers would make games for it first and then hastily port it over to PS3, and B, the Xbox 360 was more popular, so developers would make games for it first and then hastily port it over to PS3. I mean, that thing had a bigger library and more exclusives initially, with a lower starting price compared to the PS3. It was obvious if you wanted a new console, comparing the two, the 360 just made more sense. Didn't help the PS3 ads were fucking weird. See, that just shows how arrogant Sony was at the time. They thought, oh, we'll creep people out with our PlayStation 3 commercials. It's the PS3, people will want it regardless. But the PS3's problems didn't mean the 360 was having the greatest of times. More and more hardware malfunctionings were occurring. This model was notorious for failures, showing off the infamous red ring of death, which meant your system was pretty much donezo. While it was doing better sales-wise, Microsoft had to deal with repairs, spend a crazy amount on warranties, and overall just had to live with the bad press that 360 got when it came to reliability. So, one had no games, and the other didn't work. You really had to pick your poison. Within the first year, Sony took drastic steps to improve the PlayStation 3, cutting the price, removing features that were sort of worthless to reduce costs. I will never forget you, CF card reader. More and more exclusives were coming out, like Little Big Planet and Uncharted, but right when Sony was starting to turn things around, Microsoft just had to release Halo 3. This may be one of the biggest moments in gaming history just based on the energy surrounding the launch alone. Everybody knew Halo 3 was launching. It was a big deal. But then after that, Microsoft kind of gave up. The 360 no doubt had loads of fantastic exclusive games, but most of the big ones came in the first few years of that system's life. Gears of War, Viva Pinata, Crackdown, it all led up to Halo 3, and then afterwards, I mean, sequels to these games came out, but really, Microsoft kind of got content with where they were at and stopped fighting nearly as hard. Sony continued to fund exclusive games and reduced the PS3's price until finally giving it a much-needed redesign that was quite a bit smaller and was featured in a new ad campaign that highlighted the system's unique features. Microsoft kept at it with redesigning the system's user interface, offering avatars like Nintendo's Mii's, and focusing on media consumption with streaming apps. As time went on, it felt like the roles were reversing. Sony was trying to win over the hardcore gamer with excellent games, while Microsoft was trying to transform the Xbox 360 into this all-in-one entertainment hub for everybody, which was the initial mission statement of the PlayStation 3.
And
both companies tried their
really
hands
hard
at motion
at
controllers
doing
to
that.
combat the Nintendo Wii. Sony had the PlayStation Move, and Microsoft
Fucking
the Kinect.
idiots.
While both were equally f***ing stupid in their own right, the Move felt more like a way to turn your PS3 into a Wii, if you're into that sort of thing. The Kinect felt more like something Microsoft wanted everybody to have, and positioned it as a replacement for the Wii. You could control the games with your body, that's insane, I f***ing hated my thumbs anyways. The Kinect did insanely well, much better than the PlayStation Move. But that came at a cost. While Sony was focusing on making legitimately good video games to win back the trust of the gaming community, Microsoft fully shifted the Xbox brand into casual all-in-one entertainment after the Kinect's success. At least they released a redesigned system that actually worked this time. The last couple years of these systems' active lives before their successors released were fairly different. Sony just kept pumping out exclusive after exclusive, getting games to come to PS3 with exclusive content, while Microsoft kept focusing on Halo, Gears of War, Forza, Kinect games, with Call of Duty thrown in there, with all the DLC coming to Xbox first. The 360 was still ahead, but was losing the support of the hardcore community, while Sony was doing wonders to regaining trust and rebuilding the PS3's image. While Sony still had tons of trouble occur during this time, most notably the PlayStation Network hack and outage of 2011, they stood strong and focused on making the PlayStation 3 the gamer's console. Both systems received one more redesign later in their lives. These ones focused on giving us consoles so cheap I can try to break it over my knee. Keyword try. Sony had one more ace up their sleeve with The Last of Us releasing in summer of 2013, right before the launch of their next console, the PlayStation 4. One of the most critically acclaimed games of all time as an exclusive. That got a lot of people to pick up a PlayStation 3 mere months before the next PlayStation was coming out. That's pretty impressive. And throughout all of this, while the Xbox 360 was winning the war for most of the generation, when all was said and done, it was actually Sony who ended up winning. Yeah, this is still crazy to me. I still always look at the Xbox 360 as the winner in terms of sales, and while that was true for the majority of its life, the PlayStation 3 picked up so much steam later on, it actually ended up winning. A classic underdog story. It always warms my heart to see a multi-billion-dollar corporation win at the end of the day. But who really won? It's Sony. But who do I think wins overall? So it's come down to this. I'm gonna pit these two consoles against each other in 9 categories and see which one ends up winning based on my preferences. Now, my personal history with these consoles was I was always a Nintendo guy. My state's government already knows that. But in 2011, I had enough of being the only guy in school who didn't have something that couldn't play Barrel Blast. So I had to decide, did I want an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 3? Both had U-Star 2, so it really didn't matter. I ended up going with the Xbox 360, but I always wondered if things would be different on the other side. I finally bit the bullet 5 years later and bought a used red PlayStation 3. I barely used this thing. But this is the perfect opportunity to play this for the first time and play this to bring back memories.
He bought it 2016, so he bought it right before, well, like half a year before I did. And he also grabbed the God of War version. Nice. I have the same one. But sadly I don't have the controller. Well, not the God of War controller.
And see which one comes out on top. Both of these systems have had 3 different designs released throughout their lives, and the first iterations are both absolutely iconic. This system looks like a fun box. This system looks like a space heater. I don't think the original PS3 looks bad by any means, but it looks like it's trying its hardest to look futuristic and expensive and just ended up looking like it really wanted to be taken seriously and instead got called a fucking grill. Both of these are pretty beefy consoles. I mean, I'd be worried if I swallowed one. I do think the original Xbox 360 had more of a personality though. You could swap out the faceplates. I think every company tries this at least once and then never again, but this was a neat little idea. At least the PS3's PlayStation logo could be rotated based on its orientation. Yeah, we need new models. The slim variants of both systems. Now, I will say both of these were desperately needed. The PS3 needed a more cost-effective and attractive model, and the 360 needed a model that actually worked. Definitely, the 360S was the most necessary revision, with the original being plagued by the red ring of death, no Wi-Fi built in, no HDMI built in, yeah, this was definitely needed. But the least expensive model only had 4 gigabytes of storage.
Yep. That's the one I have.
Now, to be fair, around 2007, Microsoft released the Xbox 360 Elite with HDMI built in. Still the original design, I'm worried this is going to catch on fire and I don't even own one. The PS3 Slim, while it was a bit of a stripped down version in comparison to the original, it was an excellent upgrade in terms of aesthetics. This system looks so good and still retains a lot of the character of the original model. Of course you can always go cheaper, so Sony released the PS3 Super Slim, please go back. So this is kinda cute, look at this, it's like a bathroom stall. The disc tray is a bit problematic on here. It's not terrible, but it's so much cheaper, it's so much louder. Half the time when I open it, pop a disc in and shut it, it doesn't shut all the way and I have to nudge it slightly to get it to close properly. And this one started at...
Yeah, that one is still a lot better than the 2 versions before that. Because the fucking disc tray is so cheap. It just doesn't break as fucking often as the other automatic ones. And even if it would kind of break, that would not matter because you can kind of repair it yourself. You don't really... yeah.
$12 gigabytes of storage. Yes! Now this was obviously made to be a super cheap entry-level PS3. It's nowhere near as sturdy or substantial feeling as the Slim or the original. I can't say this is a bad option to have. It's still a PS3. It's fine. I like that they tried something different and stupid, but it is undoubtedly the cheapest feeling one. It just doesn't feel like it matters. Well, Microsoft decided to play its shitty third consoles and came up with this during sleep paralysis. The Xbox 360E.
Yeah,
this
that
is one
thing
of my
is
least
shit.
favorite looking consoles of all time. This released the same year as the Xbox One, so they decided to redesign the 360 to look more like the Xbox One, and who doesn't want to look more like the original Xbox One? The 360 has had a great look. I liked how sleek it was, how it was subtly
that's the one I have.
X-shaped. That was great. So why do this? It just looks
That thing is
confused and
bullshit.
scared. So
Garbage.
both consoles had ups and downs with their designs, but if I had to choose one, I'd say the PS3 was the most consistently solid. I don't hate any of these designs. The Super Slim is totally cheap and the original is totally fat, but I think they all look at the very least fine. I really do like that original 360 design, but it didn't have Wi-Fi, HDMI, it was on its deathbed as soon as you bought it. It had problems, and while the S was a great upgrade to reliability, features, and overall design, the E just completely ruined the 360's chance here. The controller is what makes video games a thumb man's game. The Xbox 360 is often cited as having one of the best controllers of all time. It just feels so substantial. The button placement, the sticks, triggers, everything feels perfect. Of course, it does have some issues. The D-pad is on a similar level to Vlad the Impaler. They updated it later on to be a transforming D-pad. Swing it around to be actively okay. It uses AA batteries for power, which was a bit outdated even for the time. Microsoft would later release play-in charge kits though, which allowed you to simply use a rechargeable battery. You had to pay extra for it, but at least you had the option. But overall, this is still easily one of the greatest controllers out there. Now on a completely unrelated note, the PlayStation 3 controller. So it initially released as the 6-axis, which had no rumble. That got updated to the DualShock 3, which was everything the 6-axis was, but with rumble. I was waiting to be confused today. But all PS3 controllers basically look the same, which means they all look the same as PS2 controllers, which look the same as PS1 controllers, which were basically the same as a Super Nintendo controller. Sony used the exact same controller design for 3 consoles at this point. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, sure, but they kept cramming these modern technologies into a decade-old design, and because of that, it was easy to see some cracks forming. It's a bit small for my liking. I was never the biggest fan of the thumbstick placements. They added analog triggers, but the way they're designed make it easy for your fingers to slip off of them. There's also not as much weight to this controller as the 360,
with these
which makes
things.
this feel a lot flimsier and more fragile. Just holding it, you can feel how easy it would be to snap this in two. With the 360 controller, I don't feel it at all. Now, the controller is rechargeable out of the box, which is a nice feature. However, while the battery life is pretty alright, the 360 controller with AA's lasted quite a bit longer. Now, PS3 does have motion controls. You can tilt the controller around, but my holy god is it gimmicky. I find it funny how people considered the Wii gimmicky back then, and justifiably so. But the PS3 controller had motion controls as well, and every implementation I've seen of motion controls with this controller were some of the most unnecessary garbage of all time. At least the Wii had bowling going for it. Now, the PS3 controller does look pretty classy. It looks more elegant. If a 360 controller's on your couch, I immediately think you cheat on your girlfriend and your fingernails look disgusting. This has more class, but it's still better in nearly every way to me. Better layout, better feel, better battery life, no unnecessary gimmicks, a few little issues, but this is pretty damn near close to perfect. The PS3 controller isn't bad, but it's just not as rock solid as the competition. The Xbox 360 had so many accessories. A way to play HD movies, a Wi-Fi adapter. Did the PS3 have those?
Yep.
Oh, the PlayStation 3 was the ultimate package. You could play Blu-rays right out of the box, use HDMI, connect to Wi-Fi, play PS1 games, PS2 games, everything! As long as you had the best models. So some of these features, namely Wi-Fi connectivity and PS2 game support, were taken out of lower-end PS3s originally to make them as cheap as possible. That does make buying these older models a bit more confusing, as most people don't really know how to differentiate a PS2-compatible Wi-Fi enabled PS3 in the wild. That's why it's easier to compare the features of the second revisions of each console onwards, and easily the PS3 still has the most features. Of course, Blu-ray support out of the box. Now, the Xbox 360 had an adapter to play HD DVDs, you're welcome humanity, but the fact you had to buy a separate disc drive for a soon-to-be obsolete format at the time, it just didn't stack up to the PS3. That was one of the biggest draws for the system, the Blu-ray support. It was the only system to have it at the time, and it was a great feature. Of course, you had the Xbox Live Vision camera, which was just a garbage webcam, you can't forget that. PS3 had the PlayStation Eye, but both of these evolved into the major accessories for the console, the Kinect and PlayStation Move. The Kinect was a camera that could sense your whole body. You could control the games with no controller. The PlayStation Move used the PlayStation Eye to read wands. And the Kinect automatically had more marketing potential and definitely did better right out the gate. The Move was a fine accessory, but it more so felt like a way to let the PS3 play Wii-type games. The Kinect, as terrible as it could be, allowed for much more possibilities with games not playable with standard controllers. But at least the PlayStation Move didn't take its company and obliterate it for 4 years straight. Kinect forced Microsoft into a casual entertainment perspective and made them lack ambition in the gaming landscape. The PlayStation Move, while it wasn't as exciting at the time, it was used in less offensive ways. It was often just an option, and it worked well for the most part. It was a side thing for Sony rather than their core focus, but Kinect had more games for it that I think justified a purchase. Like, why would you buy a PlayStation Move to make people leave your house? There just wasn't a ton of compelling software for it. Now, Kinect had a ton more absolute garbage, but it at least justified itself with some titles, plus the idea was more novel than PlayStation Move. With that said, I think all the features packed into the PlayStation 3, plus its motion controller being non-obtrusive and fine, I think I'll give the features and accessories point to PS3. Kinect had more purpose, but it was bogged down with imprecise controls, terrible games, and overall tanking Microsoft's image in the latter half of the 360's life. Games like Kinect Sports and Dance Central may have been decent enough to warrant a purchase, and were more iconic than the entirety of games that required PlayStation Move, but they just aren't a big enough deal to really make me vastly prefer the Kinect to the Move. I could go with one or the other most of the time, but with the PS3's suite of features, I think it takes this round. Which of these systems is the easiest to use while not compromising on options? Well, the 360's user interface has changed 3 times throughout the years, each one having their own fans until landing on this one. Honestly, I never had much of a problem with this interface. It's quick and snappy, everything is laid out in an understandable fashion, it makes sense. I don't think I've had to look up where certain things are on Google or anything. A few more advertisements than I'd prefer, but hey, this works quite well. The PS3 has had the cross-media bar since launch. It's updated a bit, but it's generally been the same vibe throughout the years. I do like this. I think it's well thought out and makes sense. You have all the general things you can do on the left and right, and then up and down are the options within the option you've selected. Though I do think that this interface is a bit bland compared to all of the 360s, and it does have a bit too many options. If we go to settings, it's really difficult to tell which setting is the specific setting you want to use. It's great if you really want to get down and dirty with your PS3, but if I want to adjust something, half the time I don't know which option to pick. I definitely have to Google how to adjust things every time, but hey, at least we have tons of things to mess around with. but holy shit, do I hate using this thing. The PS3 is a temperamental child. There's always something going on with it. Of course, the infamous updates. Pretty much every time I boot a game up, there's an update. There's something I have to install. Of course, most of the time I can't do anything in the background. I have to sit and watch this thing load. And this thing freezes up so much more than the 360. Installing, loading, updates. I'm always at the edge of my seat when the PS3 is doing any of this because there's a solid chance something's gonna go wrong. The Xbox 360 is simpler and just works most of the time. I pop in a game, if it has to update, it downloads it pretty fast. Barely any games have to install stuff. Its user interface is simple but gives me the options I want. The PS3 is in the top 40 worst PlayStation consoles, but on a more positive note, it's in the top 40 best. Online play was incredibly important during this generation. I should know, I barely used it. But both of these systems did lean heavily into the online multiplayer crowd. If you were buying one of these systems, you gave a shit. Xbox 360 was generally considered the king of online multiplayer. Connection was great, the interface for setting up parties and hopping into games was simple and intuitive, good stuff. PS3 wasn't bad, but wasn't as elegant and wasn't nearly as feature-packed as the 360 was in its early years. It took a while, but the PS3 eventually got everything together and was pretty competent. But there was one big point against Xbox Live. You had to pay for it. No, that's not fair. I have a mouth to feed. Xbox Live Gold was $60 a year. Now, per year, that's not too bad. It's pretty reasonable. But if you wanted a slightly spottier service for free a year, you could buy a PS3 and spend that $60 you would have spent on online multiplayer on a new video game. Instead, you could have paid for surgery. Now, Sony did offer a paid online service, PlayStation Plus. This service gave you the ability to play betas for upcoming games, gave you exclusive sale prices for games, and updates could be downloaded to your console automatically instead of having to sit through it every time. You had to pay for that? The biggest deal was that you would get free games every month downloaded to your system for as long as you kept your Plus membership. Xbox would later offer monthly free games for Xbox Live Gold members in 2013, right before their next console would come out. Great. PlayStation Plus was kinda cool, but they lacked some weird features behind a premium paywall. But just to watch something like Netflix on the Xbox 360, something you already had to pay for monthly, you needed a gold subscription. That's dumb. But if I had to choose between the two, the 360 did have the better online component. Both did some dumb things, but we're also used to paying for online multiplayer now that it's not that big of a deal. Generally speaking, which console looked the best? Well, most people probably know the PlayStation 3 was more powerful than the Xbox 360. Yes, most people. Ask Ed Asner, he'd know. But when you compare the two, they are pretty on par with each other. While many PS3 exclusives looked phenomenal at the time, the 360 games didn't look that much worse. In fact, because the 360 had a bigger install base for most of its life and was easier to develop for, most third-party games ended up looking better on 360 because they were made with that hardware in mind. Now, this isn't a huge deal. By better, I really mean we're splitting hairs here, but 360 does look slightly nicer. Playing something like BioShock Infinite on the PS3, I do notice a lot more
run
textures
a lot
compared to
better
the
on the
360
Xbox
version.
most of the
Third-party
time.
games look and run a bit better on 360 most of the time. And while there are a handful of cases where the PS3 version of a game is drastically worse than the 360 one, most of the time, it's not that noticeable. Playing the PS3 version isn't much different at all from the 360 one. But the developers working exclusively with the PS3, the developers who actually took the time to figure out how to use the system to the best of its abilities, my god. Some of these games look just as good as PlayStation 4 titles. Just comparing two exclusives for each system that released in 2011, Gears of War 3 and Uncharted 3, Uncharted does look better to me. But the 360 can do some really impressive stuff, like really impressive. Just like at Rise of the Tomb Raider on the system from 2015. This was an Xbox One game, but the 360 version looks incredible for the console. And it doesn't even require an install or multiple discs. The Xbox 360 can put out some crazy graphics, but the PlayStation 3 at its best will always look a little bit better to me. God, I hope my new video game console can play my older games even though I'll never play them. Backwards compatibility is such a luxury to have even if you barely use it. And the PlayStation 3 initially was set to be the ultimate PlayStation. It could play all generations. And then the PS2 support was taken out of the cheaper models to cut costs. And then they got rid of it entirely. But hey, the Xbox 360 can play original Xbox games. This is the ultimate pleasure. Can you imagine a worse note to get on your windshield? So both consoles have trouble with playing older games. All PS3s play PS1 discs, but a specific version of the original model is the only one that can play PS2 games. Some PS1 and PS2 games are available to download from the PlayStation Network store, and various PS2 games were re-released in high definition via collections, so regardless, you had some options on PS3. The Xbox 360 can play a little less than half of the original Xbox library. Microsoft would update the 360 every now and then, offering more and more original Xbox games that were supported until they just gave up. Even though most of the major Xbox releases you'd care to play are supported, many of them have issues. The Wikipedia list of the Xbox games that were backwards compatible has a specific column denoting issues, so that says it all right there. However, some games run fine enough. Many older titles were re-released via downloads on Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network, and while Xbox Live Arcade was easily the more popular of the two, most legacy titles appeared on both services. These two both have their problems with playing legacy content, but the PS3 had the most options and always supported PS1 discs. I already talked about how third-party multi-platform games generally looked and ran better on Xbox 360, and yeah, that's generally the case. Sometimes third-party games have to install trash on PS3, but they just immediately boot on the 360. Like, come on. Most of the time, the graphical differences are incredibly minor. It's to the point where I'd say, if you're playing a third-party game on PS3, you don't have much to worry about. It's not a big deal. But to combat any graphical differences, many third-party PS3 games offer exclusive content, whether that's exclusive characters in fighting games, exclusive missions and modes, PlayStation Move support. That's all pretty cool. Xbox 360 versions really didn't have much to offer in comparison. I mean, Call of Duty DLC came to Xbox first. Oh jeez, I better get Black Ops 2 in 2020. But most of the time, PS3 offered legitimate gameplay reasons to want to own that version instead of the 360 one. Even having PlayStation Move support in BioShock Infinite, that's way cooler than offering Kinect support in Mass Effect 3, where it's literally just screeching at your Xbox to make choices on screen. And some people like playing shooters with motion controls. It was a cooler incentive than noise complaints. However, a lot of these exclusive features didn't amount to a lot. They were cool incentives, but to be honest, most third-party games were made for Xbox 360, and thus, they just work better on the platform. Most major third-party games came to each console. You weren't missing out on much if you were a big THQ nut and you owned a 360. What this all boils down to is, which console had the best exclusive games? The Xbox 360 had Halo, Gears of War, Fable, Forza, Crackdown. The PlayStation 3 had Uncharted, Resistance, Little Big Planet, Ratchet & Clank, Sly Cooper, Killzone, Infamous, God of War, Metal Gear Solid 4, Gran Turismo, Mod Nation Racers, Puppeteer, The Last of Us. Okay, this may be a bit unfair. To give Microsoft credit, they did quite a good job in the first half of the 360's life with exclusives. I mean, Halo 3 launching will always be one of the biggest events in gaming history. Even looking at the best PlayStation 3 exclusives, they just don't hold a candle to the amount of excitement around the world for that one game. Gears of War was huge, and Forza took over the racing sim crown from Gran Turismo. Like, my god, they had Forza games releasing every single year, and the Gran Turismo team was just like, here's a prequel to Gran Turismo 5, because for some reason we're taking 20 years to make it. And then for some reason they put out Gran Turismo 6 after the PlayStation 4 launched. With digital bite-sized titles, Xbox Live Arcade was far better. They had so many fun experiences on there. PSN... secure games like BioShock and Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2 was exclusive for a year. Now, each of these games came to PS3
that was
eventually.
Tokyo Jungle or whatever it's called, and that game was good.
They meant business.
I mean, the game where you just showed the dog.
PlayStation exclusive franchise. They got Final Fantasy to come to Xbox finally. They really cared, and then they gave up. Once Kinect rolled around, they let their guard down, and while Sony was already starting to kill it, they really went crazy funding exclusive content. Not only were they making amazing exclusive games, but sequels to those games. And not only were these games great, but they had a huge variety of games exclusive to PlayStation 3. There's a reason the only things people think about when Xbox is brought up are Halo, Gears of War, and Forza. Kinect exclusives could be sort of cute, but right when I said that, Sony put out The Last of Us. Jesus. One of the most critically acclaimed games of all time. That got so many people to buy a PS3. And then you had some of the more unknown games. Puppeteer is really charming. And not all PS3 exclusives were winners. Some of them definitely missed the mark, but many PS3 exclusives were truly experiences worth investing in a PS3 for. The PS3 may have been rough around the edges and difficult to use in many areas, but I don't even have to finish this sentence. So the PS3 won, which is weird considering that I used a 360 back in the day. To be fair, it could have gone either way, but based on my personal taste at the moment, I think the PS3 comes out on top. Even if it's an absolute bitch to use. But, turns out, I'm not blinded by nostalgia or love for a specific company. I picked the PS3 when the 360 was the console I owned, so that's a plus to my reviewing skills. The only thing the PS3 could use is a version of Mario Party 9. This game's actually terrible, but I love it because it's made by Nintendo.
Too far away.
Benchod. There you go, you Benchod.
चुप तेरा मगम type
Ah,
CMD
Maruchod.
तेरा
CMD,
not
let's type
exciting
CMD again, okay, stupid?
don't click anywhere रंडी के बच्चा
Okay, Benchod. Yo guys, what is up? Scammer Vaults here, bringing you guys another scam bait video. Now, before this video starts, if you guys have any scammer numbers and you want to share them, please check out techscammersunited.com. It will be the first link in the description below. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy this video. These guys were just complete idiots, and it's hilarious. Yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoy this video. If you want to follow my Twitter, Instagram, both of those are in the description. See you guys next time. Peace. And now something just
you
popped
need to click
up.
on accept.
I'm sorry, what?
You need to click on the accept.
This security warning prompt, click accept.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
And check this box here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now it's got another page. I click accept again.
Yeah, click on accept.
Okay, it says waiting for user response.
All right, sir.
Now it says, oh, I see my mouse moving. Is that you? Or what is that?
Right. Right.
That's you? Oh, okay. I was like,
Okay.
holy shit there for a second, you know? You always see all those.
No problem.
Yeah,
I
shoot,
will
man.
go ahead and I will do it so it will be easy.
Okay.
So before I go and do anything, I will have to go ahead and make a physical connection first of all on this computer, okay?
Okay,
So,
what does that
please
mean?
Be with me on the line.
Is that going to charge
That
me
means
anything?
No. There's no charge. I want to just
Okay.
make your mind clear about this. Like there is no charge. This call is not related to any charge. Now I
Okay.
want to know from you, like
Yeah.
I believe you paid money before this. for the security on this.
I've paid for, I believe last year, early 2019, I paid around $300 for security update maintenance.
Uh-huh.
And I got that. That's all I've paid for with computer related other than when I bought it. And I got it from Best Buy.
How much did you pay it to Best Buy?
This guy's
You remember?
profile picture. That's so. I paid around $8.99 for the whole thing with the monitor and everything.
All right. So you do one thing on your computer screen. You can see there is a web page open. Now you need to, and below that, okay, just a moment.
Yeah, it says Google.
I'm doing it.
He opened it for a second.
And may I know like how old this computer is?
Oh my god. It's around. Gosh, I gotta say it's around 5 years old now, I'd say.
All right. Now I would like to tell you, like 5 years ago when you purchased this computer, sir, on that point of time, the total amount which you paid for this computer, wait a moment.
Oh, a thing came up on the page. It says yes or no.
Click on yes.
Okay.
And now what you get?
Okay, now I see the website again.
Yes. You see there is anything say
Oh,
yes or
there's
no?
another thing that says yes or no.
Yeah, click on yes.
And now it just went away.
Alright, give me a moment.
I can't block his input. Okay, we're just gonna upload.
Click on yes.
Oh, this box came up again on my page here.
Yeah. Click on yes.
It says, sorry, what? You're kind of going in and out there.
Okay. You see there's something says yes.
What? Sorry, I don't. I don't mean, but you're very, very
Okay.
quiet, sir.
Okay, sir. Can you tell me what does it say on the screen now?
On the screen, let me see.
Mhm.
It says, "Do you want to allow the following program to make
Right.
changes?"
Click on yes.
What?
Click on yes. You see
Oh,
there's an
click.
yes option?
Okay.
Yeah.
He's so close to the microphone.
And now when you click on yes, what comes?
And now it says
Alright,
installing.
let it be complete. Alright. Just wait.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, many
Hello?
bush pigs.
Yeah. Now it says Team Viewer.
Alright, now just give me a moment, sir.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, sir. Just give me a moment.
Okay,
Can
what?
you tell me what do you see on this screen now?
Oh, I see a bunch of pictures of dogs.
And this isn't your screen, right?
I see all this stuff here. What is all this?
Alright, just give me a moment.
All them
Oh my
doges.
goodness. There's all these dogs and there's these files. They say this word. I can't even tell what that is.
Okay, you can click on the disconnect. You see the disconnect
Click
option?
the
Click on the
disconnect.
disconnect.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Did you put the... What is all of this? Oh, now there's another
Now just
message.
click
It
on
says
the- yeah,
security
accept.
warning again.
Now click on accept. Yeah, click
Oh
on
my
accept.
gosh. But what is all these pictures?
I will tell you right now, sir. This is a
Okay.
part of the problem, which is
It
going
says
on with
waiting.
the computer.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Just give me a moment.
Okay. He
Alright,
rejected
now, look on your computer screen at
Oh
the
my
bottom.
god.
You see?
What is all this? There's all these dogs here. What are these files here too? It says these text files, it says benchode. Hello?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean? Why is that on my computer?
Benchode.
Hello? Oh, there's another hello?
Yes, what do you see on the screen
There's
now?
another file here. It says all your files have been deleted, benchode. The hell is that supposed to mean? Sir, what did you do to my computer, sir?
I didn't do anything. Just
Why
stay
does
with
it
me on
say
the line.
that? Why does it say that? I don't even see this, the connect. Now there's
Click
another
on
thing that
accept.
came
Click
up.
on accept. Just simply click on accept.
Okay.
Did you click on the
I have
accept?
to click it twice again?
Yeah, click on
Okay.
accept.
Okay, it says waiting for a partner.
Alright, just give me a moment.
Okay. Hello? Hello? Hello, sir? Oh, now it's asking me yes or no? Hello? Hello, sir? It's asking me yes or no?
Click on yes.
Okay.
You know what they say.
It's not letting me click it. I click it and it just doesn't do nothing. If I could request elevation, I could try and Siski. Ah, you denied it. Oh, now it went away. This guy's dumb. Hello?
Yes, sir. You please stay with me on the line, okay? And let me check what is going on.
Okay, what's wrong with the computer?
In your computer, there are some online hackers.
There's hackers on my computer right now? Is that why all these pictures are showing up?
Right, sir.
Right.
Oh. I think I know what it is. Have you heard of that new virus?
Mm-hmm.
The Benchode virus?
Mm-hmm.
See, it's the virus when sleazy scammers try to scam people saying that they have a $300 charge. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not actually a $300 charge. And then what happened is then I delete all your files, and then you get the Benchode virus.
All right. Thank you so very much.
You get what I'm saying, Terry Maki Shoot?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Oh, now you figured out, stupid. Yeah, you Terry Maki Shoot, dummy. You're stupid. You couldn't even figure it out. You're probably the dumbest person in your call center, Benchode. Enjoy the pictures of the dogs, huh? That's what you are. You're a dog. Enjoy the pictures, huh? Ah, you Rundy Benchode Chutia. Huh? Huh? You got... Huh? Why you no accept my request, Benchode? Are you scared?
Because you were better as a Benchoda.
You're Benchode. What are you doing on my computer?
Your mom was a Benchoda. You are a Benchoda too.
No, you're a Benchode. Your dad's a Benchode, and your mom's a
Your mom was born
Benchode.
in the top of the Howrah pool.
Born in where?
Your father born in Bali Bridge.
Where?
In Bali Bridge.
Where's that? Is that Benchode land?
Gachi.
Where's that? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing on my computer?
I am preparing your future brother.
My Chutia brother?
Your future brother.
My future through my computer?
I'm planning for your future brother.
Is my future brother gonna be a robot?
Do you play PUBG?
PUBG?
No.
PUBG.
No, I play Apex. Apex Legends.
But you play 8-1 pool?
What?
You play 8-1 pool?
Why you sound like you're 20 feet away from the phone?
I am not away.
You sound like you're way away. You sound like you're across the room.
No.
No.
Yeah, you do.
You, I'm planning for your future brother.
You guys got a bad phone. Shitty phone. I mean, if you're trying to scam people, at least you get a better phone, Benchode. I can hear it ringing. What are you looking for?
So, what you do?
What do I do?
What you do?
I kiss your mom.
We are looking for $1 million, but you're...
Wait, did you just say you make $1 million? What did you say?
What's up, you motherfucker?
Huh? You shut up, Benchode. Look at all the little dogs on your computer.
Do you know? Do you know Devasi?
What?
Do you know Devasi?
What are you trying to do? Burn a DVD? What are
Yeah,
you doing?
yeah, Devasi.
You guys don't even know how to use a computer. You guys are stupid. What are you doing?
Oh my god, you know how to use a computer.
What are you doing?
Just tell me the...
Do you want me to here, let me help you out. You want to Siski my computer? Is that what you want to do?
Just tell me the spelling of the computer. No.
You want a Siski? Here you go.
No. I want you to type on there CMD. Type on there CMD.
Alright, CMD.
Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't ask you to put enter. Just type CMD here.
Oh, CMD. Okay. Let's see what this master computer user does.
Okay. Wait.
Why did you just get rid of it? Are you stupid? Look. See?
Don't type CMD.
CMD.
CMD. Okay, mother chod,
Okay, mother chod, you bencho. Don't click start or else it goes away, stupid. What are you doing? You want to run it as administrator?
Hey, mother chod, Randy ka bachcha.
There,
Don't
mother
click anywhere.
chod. You got it as an administrator.
Who asked you to click here?
I clicked there, bencho. Yeah, you want to close it? Okay, okay, bencho. There you go, you bencho. Ah, mother chod. CMD, let's type CMD again, okay, stupid?
Don't click anywhere, Randy ka bachcha.
Okay, bencho, I won't click it. That's what I just did.
Randy ka bachcha.
I just did that. You guys are stupid. Here you go. Here you go.
Don't touch Randy ka ladka. What I said, don't touch. Don't touch your computer.
Why you sound like you're sucking somebody's toe while you're talking, man? Your phone is so fucked up, man. Your shit must be real fucked up. Huh? What? Net? Okay. Net stat? See the hackers?
Who asked you to play net?
Well, I thought we were going to see the hackers that are on my network.
I think it came from your mom to see in only 6 months.
No, I'm your father. I'm your... close the bench. Okay, bench. There you go. It's closed. Oh, CMD again. Okay, mother chode. You want me to run it as administrator again?
Go. Go run it administrator.
Run it as administrator, Chutia? Okay.
Click on yes,
there you go. Type. You know how to use a keyboard, don't you? Type it. Type it. I can barely understand you. All three of you are huddled around this one fucking phone. Type what?
NET.
Okay, okay, Bencho. NET. Just for you, NET. You're a special Bencho. So I type. Give a space?
Yes, mother.
Alright, Bencho.
After that, user. USER.
USER? Oh, you want to change my password? Okay.
Star.
You want me to type in my username now?
No, star.
What do you want me to type? Huh? What, Bencho? What do you want me to type?
RODGER. Type करते रहो.
RODGER. Oh, so what I just typed? Okay. Let me postpone that.
Star button.
Enter.
Press.
Oh, the star. The star button. Okay.
Not two, only one. Only one star.
I only put one star.
Okay. Hit enter.
Okay.
Again enter. Again enter.
Okay.
Again enter. अब रुक तेरा माँ का बुलचुदा तो बहन चुदा तनिया.
Okay, what now?
बहन चुदा ही. बोला तनी तो बहन चुदी.
The computer never had a password.
Don't touch your mouse.
Why is he?
Don't touch your
He
mouse.
didn't have a password in the first place, and now he's going. Oh my god. Bencho, what are you doing?
तेरा माँ का बुल बहुत जाना है तेरा माँ का बुल.
Oh my
कीबोर्ड का
gosh.
एक्सेस नहीं दिया है. सब कर दिया. पासवर्ड चेंज करने जाएंगे.
These guys think they're on some next level shit. What is he doing? He was about to change the password. What's he doing? What are you doing? Huh? Termakabo, what are you doing? You're calling me Randy?
I'm telling you, Randy.
I'm telling you, Randy. What are you doing? Are you gonna hurry up or what?
I'm telling you, mother Jose.
Ah.
Fucking ass.
Okay.
अब तो माई के बुर में computer गई.
What did you
Your
do?
computer is in fucked up.
My computer's fucked up?
I said your computer in your mom's pussy. Here.
Oh no.
Now what you
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. My computer is locked.
This is how your mom.
Why did you lock my computer?